Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Students across the region are headed back to school, but Chemung County health officials are concerned about the low number of vaccinated students. COVID-19 specialist Amanda Decker hears from local officials about what they hope happens and how many doses have been given to this group so far.
Just over 1,700 kids ages 12 to 17 have received the COVID-19 vaccine. It's a small number of confirmed compared to how many of them are actually eligible. And it's a concern for Chemung County school officials as kids gear up for back to school.
I'd like to see that go up, especially as we're going back to school. So we're going to be inside, we're going to be together. It would be really nice to see that number.
Chemung County Health Director Pete Buzzetti and County Executive Chris Moss gave an update on the current COVID-19 situation as well as the outlook as students prepare to return to class, and low vaccination rates remain their focus. In recent months, Chemung County health officials had held several vaccination clinics in partnership with schools. They're hoping to do so again as the school year rolls on. But because the situation is changing so quickly, there is still no official roadmap for the upcoming fall semester. Now, just last week, Elmira City School Superintendent Hillary Austin, along with several other local school superintendents, sent home letters informing parents that the state had not yet issued any guidance regarding safety protocols for the school year. But those letters also stated, as for now, all students are set to return to in-person learning 5 days a week, although masking and social distancing rules have not been ironed out. For now, the guidance remains: get vaccinated if you are eligible, wear a mask in public spaces and where required, and practice good hygiene. We can all together slow the spread before our kids once again start gathering in large groups. Reporting for Big Fox News, I'm COVID-19 specialist Amanda Decker.
Members of the World Health Organization expressing new concerns over the Biden administration's decision to offer COVID-19 booster shots. This coming as the president issues a warning to governors about mask mandates. Jonathan Sari has more.
Multiple studies published by the CDC on Wednesday showed vaccine efficacy declined during midsummer months as the Delta variant spread. The data leading health officials to announce plans to dispense booster shots to all Americans as soon as mid-September.
The booster will allow them to get that antibody level up even higher so they can feel more confident that they can fight off COVID-19 infection if it was to come their way.
But top scientists at the World Health Organization have voiced concerns about the plan, pointing out some people in poor countries have not yet received their first dose. The Biden administration says it remains committed to distributing doses globally, but some health officials argue the decision to go ahead with booster shots here could allow the virus to spread more quickly around the world.
When a country has no vaccines, they spin out variants like the Delta variant, which is what's so much of a problem here now.
Meanwhile, across the U.S., thousands of children have been placed under COVID quarantines just days into the new school year. This as parents and school officials battle over mask mandates, prompting a new warning from President Biden.
I'm directing the Secretary of Education to take additional steps to protect our children. This includes using all of his oversight authorities and legal action, if appropriate.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says last week child COVID cases represented 18% of the U.S. total. In Atlanta, Jonathan Sari, Fox News.
A British study finds protection against the Delta variant from the Pfizer and AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines weakens within 90 days after the second dose. The authors note 2 doses of either vaccine still gave at least the same level of protection as after getting a natural coronavirus infection. The study of more than 3 million COVID tests was conducted by Oxford University, Britain's Office of National Statistics, and the Department for Health and Social Care. The study has not yet undergone peer review before publication in a scientific journal. New York's State Assembly is planning to continue its impeachment investigation into Governor Cuomo. He announced his resignation, as you know, last week amid a state attorney general report concluding he engaged in inappropriate behavior with 11 women. One of those women says she's skeptical, but hopes the investigation gets to the bottom of the allegations.
I was already questioning the sincerity of the process as it was handled by the leaders from the beginning. And I think this further speaks to the politicalization of the process. It's almost like window dressing. That being said, though, I'm glad that they're pursuing the impeachment investigation. I hope that they do so with a great deal of sincerity and authenticity.
Governor Cuomo is set to vacate his position as governor next week. At that time, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul will take over. Lise says she thinks Cuomo will try to repair his career and reputation after that. She also claims there are dozens of other women with allegations who have not spoken out. U.S. Capitol Police say a suspect who claimed to have an explosive device in a truck near the U.S. Capitol has surrendered to authorities and is in custody. Police have identified the suspect as 49-year-old Floyd Ray Roseberry. According to the USCP, the incident prompted multiple buildings in the area to be evacuated today as authorities responded to an active bomb threat investigation. Authorities say Roseberry had been live streaming from the scene. A roughly half-hour Facebook video showed him inside a truck holding a canister that he said was a bomb and speaking about a revolution. Authorities have yet to identify a motive. Lucky to be alive. That is how authorities in Pennsylvania describe a Yardley Borough police chief who was shot multiple times during a standoff on Wednesday. Matt Petrillo reports.
My roommate heard a gunshot.
Law enforcement officers initially rushed to the Yardley Commons for a probation check that turned into a domestic dispute this afternoon. That's when Yardley Borough Police Chief Joseph Kelly came by to assist those officers.
This is a small borough and the chief frequently responds to calls himself, yes.
But when the chief knocked on the door, the suspect then fired a shotgun, striking Chief Kelly in the hand and ear. The chief was rushed to a nearby hospital.
He's absolutely extremely lucky to be alive. Never thought that he would encounter a shotgun being pulled and fired at him.
Neighbors are alarmed.
We started looking online for it, the police bureau Facebook page and stuff, and they said that everyone has to stay inside, stay low.
We are incredibly grateful, relieved, prayerful that he will survive his injuries and make a recovery.
Just want to take a moment and send our prayers to Chief Kelly. The entire community is thinking of him, and not only do we support him, his family, but also the community of officers that's handling the situation right now. And of course, want to let our residents know that they couldn't be in safer hands.
The Federal Aviation Administration is proposing more than $500,000 in fines against 34 unruly airline passengers. Most of the incidents involve passengers violating the mask mandate. 9 people were accused of hitting or touching another person on the plane, including crew members. One passenger is facing a $45,000 fine for throwing luggage at another person and grabbing a flight attendant by the ankles and putting his head up her skirt. Half of the incidents involve flights to or from vacation destinations in Florida. The Pentagon says roughly 7,000 people have now been evacuated from Afghanistan since Saturday. And now President Biden is giving more insight into his decision to withdraw U.S. troops in a new interview. Madeline Rivera is in Washington with the latest as more chaotic scenes break out on the ground today.
Gunfire could be heard outside of the airport in Kabul, where crowds were gathered hoping to get inside to flee the country. Chaos that President Biden maintains was unavoidable as he doubled down to defend his decision to withdraw U.S. troops.
The idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
In his first interview since Afghanistan's fall to Taliban fighters, the president also pushed back on the notion that he bucked the intelligence community's warnings of a rapid collapse of the country.
They said that it was more likely to be sometime by the end of the year.
And he argued that his top military advisors did not all warn against a withdrawal.
Your top military advisors warned against withdrawing on this timeline. They wanted you to keep about 2,500 troops.
No, they didn't. It was split.
Critics say the president's interview only further draws into question his decision to leave Afghanistan.
This is not good messaging. We saw a president that looked confused and agitated and frankly incapable.
While President Biden says the plan remains to pull all U.S. troops out of Afghanistan by the end of the month, he pledged to keep them there as long as it takes to get every American who wants to leave out safely. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
The storied history of America's great theater venue in New York City is getting its own museum. The Museum of Broadway will become the first permanent museum dedicated to Broadway's musicals, plays, and theaters. Open next summer in the heart of New York's Times Square and West 45th Street, several theater-related organizations will be a part of the founding. Visitors will experience a visual history from birth to theater pioneers, plays, musicals, and moments of social change. A retail store will be on site. The museum has already launched an online store at themuseumofbroadway.com. Still ahead tonight, White House officials announced plans to offer a booster shot to fully vaccinated Americans who got the Pfizer or Moderna COVID-19 vaccines. But what about the millions in the U.S. who got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine?
The J&J vaccine was not administered in the U.S. until March of 2021, and we expect more data on J&J in the coming weeks.
Coming up, the latest on boosters for this one-dose vaccine.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Your Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. Temperatures today were mainly held in the upper 70s and lower 80s as a result of the clouds and also the rain that moved through. By tomorrow, a little bit drier conditions as high pressure builds into the region, and it is going to get a little bit more humid and hot over the weekend with that high that will be in place. However, we do have a system coming in from the west. In addition to that, we have Henri that will continue to move to the northwest and then eventually to the north. Right now, there are some models that are indicating it could move right in over the New England states over this weekend, and then there are other models that takes it toward Maine. Depending where it lands this weekend, it looks like it could pull in moisture across the Twin Tiers, and that will enhance our rain chances, not only for your Saturday, but also into your Sunday. But out ahead of these systems, our dew points are quite high in the upper 60s, so it does feel a little bit muggy outside, and it causes those temperatures to feel a little bit warmer. Tomorrow, we start off around 66 degrees with partly cloudy skies, and we'll see off and on cloud cover throughout the day. 82 degrees by 1 o'clock, and we'll stay in the 80s through the rest of the afternoon. But if you factor in the humidity, it will feel like the lower 90s. As we head into the next couple of days, our average high is around 81 degrees, and I think we'll be very close to that. But again, the humidity will make it feel like the upper 80s on Saturday, and then it will feel like the lower 90s by Sunday. As far as rain chances, let's take a look at our future radar where we're finding a few isolated showers for tonight. Heading into early tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, not the best rain chances, but notice all these showers that are just outside of our viewing area by Friday evening. This will start to increase and move northward as Henri starts to move northward as well. So there could be a few showers early in the day on Saturday that will continue into the afternoon. And then we have more rain chances for your Sunday as a result of Henri or the vicinity of Henri. And so it could pull in a little bit more moisture. And so that's why we have rain chances for your Sunday. Here's a look at your forecast. Tonight, we drop down to around 64 degrees for both Corning and also in Elmira. Highs tomorrow will be in the low 80s. It will be humid. There could be an isolated shower or two in the late afternoon into the evening. A little bit cooler conditions on Saturday with a little bit more cloud cover as well. Highs will be around 80 and then 82 degrees on Sunday. From there, we heat up into the mid 80s on Tuesday and Wednesday out ahead of another cold front. And that cold front will finally bring cooler air in by the latter part of next week. Highs on Thursday will be around 79 degrees.
A third round of shots. White House officials announced their plans to offer a booster shot to fully vaccinated Americans who got the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, citing new evidence about waning vaccine protection against symptomatic infection over time. But where does that leave those who got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine when it comes to boosters? Mandy Gaither has that in today's Health Minute.
In the U.S., there are 3 COVID-19 vaccines with emergency use authorization. For 2 of them, the ones made by Pfizer and Moderna, top U.S. health officials now say a booster is needed for adequate protection.
If you are fully vaccinated, you still have a high degree of protection from the worst outcomes of COVID-19, severe disease, hospitalization, and death.
For the 2 mRNA vaccines, 3 recent studies found waning protection over time against symptomatic infection, prompting officials to put a booster plan in motion beginning September 20th for those adults who got their second dose of vaccine 8 months ago, all pending the green light from the FDA and CDC. But what about those who received the Johnson & Johnson 1-dose vaccine? They too will likely need a booster.
The J&J vaccine was not administered in the US until March of 2021, and we expect more data on J&J in the coming weeks.
When that data comes in, U.S. health officials say they'll keep Americans up to date on a timely plan for booster shots for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine as well.
This remains a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Meanwhile, the push to get shots in arms continues. In the past 2 weeks, a fifth of all new U.S. vaccinations have been among adolescents, which parallels a climb in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations driven by the Delta variant. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
From coast to coast, people are facing extreme weather. And as Britt Conway reports, there's more to come.
Fire in the west, flooding in the east, a record-breaking summer with more than a month still left. There are 104 large fires burning across the country, mostly in the west, where drought conditions continue to fuel the raging wildfires. Firefighters call the Northern California Caldor fire unprecedented after it nearly doubled in size Tuesday night. Thousands have been evacuated from their homes. Many have lost their homes altogether.
I don't know. Right now, I just feel like giving up.
And the Dixie Fire is still burning too. It's torn through more than 660,000 acres, and still, containment remains stagnant. On the East Coast, flooding after Tropical Depression Fred from Georgia to North Carolina.
And it happened so fast, the next thing I know, it was coming in for the floorboard.
Tearing apart homes, and now the fear, it's done the same to families. Dozens of people are still unaccounted for.
We have been searching abandoned vehicles, homes, buildings for survivors, and we'll continue to search.
And now it looks like the Northeast could be in for heavy rain and wind too. Some forecast models show Tropical Storm Henri headed that way, potentially reaching hurricane strength as early as the end of the day. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Even a certain celebrity is smitten with a golden retriever turned social media sensation. Jeannie Mose reports on the golden with a sterling reputation.
It's no stretch to call Sterling a social media star. This golden retriever has managed to retrieve over 1 million followers on TikTok. His Instagram account,
Life of Sterling Newton,
has even attracted Celine Dion as a follower. She's Sterling's lady, all right.
I was utterly shocked and obviously very, very honored.
Sterling's owner, Diane Newton, lives outside Toronto in Canada and now posts daily as if it's Sterling posting.
He's my best friend. I'm with him every day.
She posts his funny habits, like stealing underpants and bras and leaving them out in the garden. She chronicles his trips through the Starbucks drive-thru for a free whipped cream puppuccino. When there were fireworks, she showed how she found Sterling hiding in the shower. He may love chicken.
Shall I give you some chimkin? That's what we call chicken, chimkin.
But just try getting him to eat an egg. He'll hold it, but he won't eat it. Ever since he was a few months old, Diane's been showing him stealing dish towels and hats. Sometimes he's made to model the purloined items. All through the pandemic, Sterling's fan base grew, as one woman wrote.
I just wanted to let you know, he's my virtual therapy dog.
Look how he greets Diane's son.
Have you ever been in love? I don't think so. Do you want me to describe it to you?
When he gets home from work at night, and he gets jealous if he sees her other son embracing his girlfriend and butts in. You can't fool Sterling by trying to hide his allergy pill.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fans have watched him grow from a few months old to 3.5 years. He's a social media hound and a dog for all seasons. Jeannie Mose, New York.
Macys is giving Toys R Us new life again. The department store says it is partnering with the toy store chain to sell toys online. Toys R Us shop-in-shops will also be opening at 400 department stores next year. This is the second attempt to revitalize the Toys R Us brand since it closed all of its U.S. stores in 2018. 2 standalone stores opened inside malls in New Jersey and Texas in 2019, but later closed due to COVID-19. In England, a harrowing story led to a happy ending, all thanks to a black cat who proved it can be good luck by leading rescuers to a missing woman. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Black cats get a bad rap, being known traditionally as harbingers of bad luck. But one owner of a black cat in England turned out to be very lucky indeed. The 83-year-old woman had been reported missing in a rural area near Cornwall. While searching, neighbors were alerted to her whereabouts by her cat Piran, whose relentless meowing revealed the woman had tumbled down a 70-foot ravine. Emergency crews responded and executed a line rescue using a stretcher to hoist the woman to safety. She was transferred to a hospital, and authorities say she's in good spirits. The woman's neighbor said without the beckoning cat, it could have taken much longer to locate the fallen woman. Local police went one further, taking to Twitter to exclaim, "Piran the cat saved the day." Luck may have been on the side of archaeologists in Italy when they discovered an incredibly well-preserved skeleton in Pompeii. Researchers say the remains are of a man who died in the final decades of the Roman city, which was buried in ash after a volcanic eruption nearly 2,000 years ago. The remains, found sealed in a tomb, were so well preserved that the skeleton still has hair on it. Markings on the tomb reveal the man was an organizer of performances in Greek and Latin. Experts say it's the first evidence of performances in Greek in the ill-fated ancient city. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight, and fair warning for anyone with arachnophobia. Scientists at the University of Wisconsin-Madison have turned the daddy long legs into a daddy short legs. They did it by altering the spider's genes. Essentially, the researchers turned off 2 genes linked to leg development. It resulted in 6 of the 8 legs growing to roughly half their normal size. One of the goals of the project was to discover how the spider develops such long legs. The study on the experiment was published in the latest issue of the journal Proceedings by the Royal Society B. Now, if they could only find a way to make my legs longer, that would be much appreciated. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great night.